Welcome. If you are watching this video, you're likely doing research on the Shinko E704, 705 tires, the dual sport tires that they have out. I was planning to do an extensive review on these tires, but I discovered an issue that I think I need to bring to people's attention. And so because of that, I'm not going to do a review. I'm not going to talk about the type of riding I've done on these tires and where I've been. This issue that I've discovered is pretty significant. I had watched a video on the channel Here's Dave. Dave talked about this issue on the exact same tire that I'll go into. And he had ridden his bike down in Baja in some pretty rugged terrain. And the issue that came up was identified as being because he'd had large hits or strikes to the tire causing the problem. And so I thought, well, I'm not going to be riding in that aggressive of terrain. And I ended up having the exact same problem. Now, the thing to keep in mind for this is I'm only talking about the 705 in the size of a 170 60 R17 that I was riding on my BMW R1200 GS Rally. I cannot speak for any other rear tires or the front tires. I'm only going to talk about this rear tire in this size. So what has happened with this tire is I have about 5,500 miles on it, and I keep a really close eye on my tires. And in the last 200 miles, the tread has started separating from the carcass, or de-laminating, however you want to talk about it. So there's bubbles underneath the tread where it's actually coming apart. In my last stop before riding home, I looked at the tires just to check the tread depth because I knew it was getting low. I didn't see any of these issues. By the time I got home, which was like a 210 mile ride, the sides were bulging out, and I will do the best I can to show just how bad it is. In the last 100 miles of my trip, the rear tire felt a little funny from what I was used to, and I thought maybe I had lost air pressure. So I checked the air pressure monitoring on the dash, and it looked fine. But when I got home, I took a closer look, and there's about 5 or 6 spots that have bubbled up, and this is an unacceptable thing to happen to a tire. I've ridden many other tires, and I've never had this happen. I didn't treat this tire any differently than I treated other tires. I didn't ride it any more aggressively, any less aggressively. I didn't modify my riding habits at all. I can't have a tire do this, and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to do it from afar. I've got a replacement tire here that I had purchased before this happened, and when I discovered that, I'm sending this tire back. The second I'm done filming this, it's going to UPS and it's going back. I refuse to use this tire anymore. So I will try to roll it around, and then I'll do a better close-up, but you can hopefully see that this is smushy. It's like a balloon right here. I'm hoping the camera can see that. I'll change the view to make sure, but look at that. Another spot here. Another spot where it's just starting to come off here, and then in here it's starting to peel up as well. I can't ride a tire that does this. In different sizes, people have different experiences, but I can't treat any tire that I put on my bike any differently than any other, and I can't have it doing this. So if you are considering this tire on your in this size on your bike, think about the type of riding you're going to do. I did rocky off-road, I did fire roads, I did lots of pavement. The reason I chose this tire is because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of pavement riding for the first part of the year, for spring and early summer. I knew I was going to be putting a lot of miles on the road, and I wanted something that would last longer. To give you an idea, for me, this is at the 5,500 mile mark. I spent a lot of time at high interstate speeds, which is generating a lot of heat in the tire. But I've done that on other more aggressive knobby tires, and I haven't had this happen. So I think in this aspect that the saying "you get what you pay for" applies to this. I won't do a budget tire like this again. This frightened me to know that I spent a couple hundred miles riding with a tire like this. If it had blown out, it would have been a blow, not a slow leak. That would have been pretty significant, fully loaded, especially at higher speed, doing curves, whatever else. So something to think about before going out and purchasing the E704 tire in a 170/60/17 size. I spoke to someone who knows a lot more about tires than I do, and what he had said was the reason for the delamination was the tire got overheated or reached heat levels that it couldn't hold, and that caused the delamination that I had pointed out. It doesn't change anything for me. I didn't ride that tire any differently than I've ridden any of the other tires I've been on, and that's unacceptable. I can't have that. I will say that the front tire, I've went and looked at it and it looks okay. I'll keep it, maybe put something else on the rear that's of similar tread pattern in case I decide I want to ride across the country, or I know I'm going to be putting thousands and thousands of paved miles on. So that's my thoughts on the Shinko, depending on how you ride, at least in the size that I rode the bike in, the 170/60/17. I will never put that tire on again. I don't trust it. And I'm not going to change my riding style or habits in order to suit the tire. I think I need to find a tire that works for me the way I ride. So I hope you find this helpful, and I will see you out there. These are getting mounted up on my 2017 BMW R1200 GS Rally.